Hi, my name is Libby Calicote. I am the coordinator and teacher for the Durant Green School program in Durant, Oklahoma. Today, I am presenting Durant Intermediate School's recycling and composting systems. We'll begin with recycling. The key parts of our recycling system are as follows. We have a well-defined system with two primary categories, paper and non-paper. We sort and prepare our recycling based on communication with our local recycler. The system is student managed and tailored to meet our school needs. We provide inspirational learning to facilitate the correct use of our system, and we have school-wide communication that keeps us all on the same page. This is our paper recycling system. Notebook and copier paper, newspaper, magazines, and paperboard all go into blue recycle bins, primarily located in classrooms, but as well as offices. Students transfer the materials into cardboard boxes, and then the boxes are later shipped to Choctaw Recycling. It's not necessary to remove staples. We ask that no one wads up the paper because it takes up too much space. And if possible, we encourage everybody to use both sides of the paper before recycling. This is a picture of our students in action, collecting paper from the blue recycle bins and putting it into boxes for shipping. Here is a week's worth of paper. This is a rather large load because we did have some textbooks going out for recycling in this particular load. About once a week, Choctaw Recycling comes by with their trailer, and we load the boxes full of paper into the trailer, and off it goes to Choctaw Recycling. This is our non-paper recycling system. The inputs include plastics, aluminum and steel, and styrofoam. We have hallway stations that are color-coded. Orange is for plastic wrap and film. Purple is for styrofoam. Yellow is aluminum and steel. And red is plastic containers. These items are bagged separately based on category, then placed in the outside Choctaw recycling dumpster. All containers going into recycling must be empty and relatively clean. Each grade level has its own hallway station, at least one, but some classrooms and offices have non-paper recycle stations as well. This is an example of one of our hallway stations. This is the 4th grade station, and it is actually a comprehensive station in that it has the non-paper recycling as well as the paper recycling system, and additionally a color cycle receptacle for dried markers that are mailed to Crayola. During the day, 4th grade students bring materials from the 4th grade classrooms and 4th grade administration offices to their 4th grade station. And then our 6th graders, who are pictured here, empty the station and take it to wherever it needs to go. Here are some additional pictures. On the left is our actual recycle dumpster. There's a student putting some materials in. On the right is an example of a classroom station. This is in the green team classroom. This is a very popular sorting location. Students bring materials from all around the school as well as sometimes from home, and items get sorted here, and you can see that they're pretty well sorted out. We inspire and inform our school community so that they can use the system correctly. We do this in 4 ways. We have a recycling worksheet that outlines what and how we recycle. Every day we have Green Team morning announcements that includes information about upcoming meetings as well as informational and educational as well as inspirational content. We have a recycling game that we play that makes learning how to sort much more fun. And we also have student presentations in school and in the community. Here's an example of a Green Team announcement that students see in the morning. You might notice that this is in September, so it's early in the year. so we have to focus a lot on teaching the basics of recycling. This particular slide is focused on plastic containers. Here's one that's focused on how to properly prepare boxes for recycling. Notice here this list. This is of the various meetings that's taken place on this particular day. I pointed out just so it's clear that there are a lot of different teams meeting, different specialty teams who work to make all of these systems work. Here's a slide outlining which items cannot go into recycling. So notice that this is October, so that by this time of the year, there's a lot of activity taking place, but we're getting items going into recycling that don't belong, and how we know which items to emphasize is based on meeting with our students and having a discussion on what we need to clarify within our Green Team announcements. Here's another example. Notice this is in February when everybody's starting to get runny noses. And every year we find that we end up with tissues in our paper recycling. And sometimes we have to get a little bit tougher, yet try to have fun with it. And so this is a slide that's one of my favorites that we ran this past school year. And it says, "It's that time of the year. Lots of dirty tissues. You see them there, here, and everywhere. Of course, we know that tissues come from trees, and once they're full of stuff can cause disease. So let's try something new. Perhaps we're careful with how many we use, and when they're full of disgusting gunk, they land in the trash and not the recycle bin. Your humble Green Team." Moving on, here's another Green Team announcement that illustrates how we also connect our work with what's going on in the world. So here's an emphasis on the problem with plastic bags. Our recycling game is set up in a variety of ways, but basically it's a system that makes it fun to take items from the waste stream and figure out where else they can go other than just the trash can. And so this is one particular setup, and we'll do it in a variety of ways, but notice that here whoever is playing will pick up an item, and it's either going to be recycled in one of these areas, composted, or it goes into the trash. So kids really enjoy learning how to sort, and it's a lot of fun. So this has been a very popular game. Here are some of our sixth graders practicing for an upcoming presentation. They provide community presentations as well as in-school presentations. If you'd like to see their full presentation as far as the PowerPoint, you can go to durantgreenschool.com, scroll down to the Learning Center section. Here are these same students providing an in-school presentation and teaching other kids how to recycle. So they started off with a PowerPoint slide about the specifics, and then they play the recycle game. So this is a school-wide assembly, and the students will call students up from the crowd to play the game, and it ends up being sort of like a game show. So lots of fun. Composting at Durant Intermediate School. So the key parts for composting is that we have a very simple collection system. It's open to student experimentation. It is student managed with teacher partnership, and it easily connects to classroom learning. We're also able to use the Green Team announcements to teach about our composting system as well. This is our system in action. So the inputs come from the cafeteria. Vegetable and fruit scraps, as well as paper napkins and bread, go into a green bucket. This bucket sits separately from other waste receptacles in order to avoid contamination. Once a day during recess, students go by and get the compost bucket and put a clean one in its place. They take the bucket to the outdoor classroom, compost, and then later on, we eventually have compost to add to our gardens. Here's some finished compost that we collected in the fall of last year. Here's the compost sign that hung above the compost bucket this past year. This was provided by our 5th grade marketers, and it's an example of how all of our specialty teams work together and provide different pieces of the system. To the left is a picture of more composting, and it's an example of how we use a variety of methods and we let the students explore and experiment. Um, the the only real requirement is that we make sure we have adequate air and water and we get the correct nitrogen and carbon composition. Here's an example of a green team announcement in regard to composting. So we'll teach different parts of the composting process. And in this particular slide, we are simply teaching the difference between greens and browns. Here, we're encouraging students to continue using the system, but in a correct way. So it says, "Dear friends, thank you for putting your lunch scraps in the compost bucket. We welcome fruit and vegetable scraps, napkins, and bread, but no meat, please, including chicken nuggets. Thank you, your green team." So he obviously had a problem with some meat going into the compost bucket and was addressing it with this slide. We understand that whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly, and this is the interrelated structure of reality, Martin Luther King Jr. We know that we're connected to all of the big problems in the world, from all the plastic pollution in the ocean and in our landscape to global warming. We think global and act local, and we also, very importantly, think positive. We think about our impact and we study it. And we use systems thinking to try to figure things out. We understand that the world is a system that consists of many systems. And if we want to change the world, we have to study the systems that are in play and either adapt those systems or replace them. And we know that we're not garbage pickers, we're designers. Our challenge remains we still have a large waste stream coming from our cafeteria. Our solution is to work more strategically. And so this upcoming school year will be focused on an overarching theme, and that theme we're calling #DurantReduces. This will be a community-wide campaign to reduce the use of all materials and resources. And the top objective will be returning our cafeteria to reusable rather than disposable servingware. Thank you for listening. You can find me at elizabeth.calicote@durantisd.org. Please feel free to email me anytime. I want to give credit for this presentation template to Slides Carnival, which also includes photographs by Unsplash. And that's the end. Thank you.